I wish I never saw this movie. Nah, but for real, Wish is Disney's latest attempt at trying to figure out what the public wants them to do. You want a 2D animated movie? Well, best I can do is whatever this is. So Wish celebrates 100 years of Disney films. That's a long time, and you'd think they would have figured it out by now, but apparently not. The story of Wish is very simple. Asha is a character who has a big heart. Ooh, she's a little goofy. She wants everyone's wish to be granted, but that asswipe King Magnifico has stolen everyone's wish, and now they're just kinda being chilling. They don't have aspirations. I think it's not super clear. You know, a wish isn't a tangible thing, but it is in this movie, which is a cool mechanic that we'll get into, but when they have their wish taken from them, they're just kind of sad, I guess. They also don't remember what they wished for, which is convenient. The general plot of the movie is Asha finds out Magnifico is a turd sandwich, and she makes a wish on a star to free everyone's wishes. The star comes to life, and they all work together to free the wishes. It's pretty straightforward as, movies go, but believe it or not, it's kind of a detriment. So everybody's dogging on this movie for one thing or another. The soundtrack, shit. The animation, shit. The villain, shit. But really, to me, the biggest flaw of this movie is it doesn't have a second act. Ah, shit, I knew we forgot something. They just didn't write one. The way this movie goes, oh, spoilers by the way, like anyone cares. Asha finds out Magnifico is holding all these wishes hostage in, the first act. And this is the change into Asha's character arc of... She doesn't have a character arc, actually. She's kind of a good person the entire time, so it's kind of boring. But basically, she finds out the king is keeping all these wishes hostage, and then the rest of the movie is just spent trying to get them back. There's no trials, there's no growing. It's just trying to get the wishes back, and it's a very short movie. That's the only story beat, is just them trying to free all these orb wishes, and that's it. So the pacing is just very strange. The first act is maybe 10 minutes, flat. It goes so fast, it's like I'm watching a goddamn TikTok video. Doesn't really make a lot of sense. But it's not all bad. This movie isn't absolute garbage. I just dunked on it a lot with the pacing stuff, but let's talk about something positive. The visuals are pretty fun. Yes, the lighting is super flat, and some of the colors look a bit, washed out. But overall, it's a nice change from the typical Disney output. I mean, Disney is always trying to make them look as hyper-realistic as possible, and they just went a little too far in the other direction. Happens to the best of us. Add a little more lighting and a little more flair and expressive characters, and this could have been really nice. The first thing I noticed when I was watching this movie is there are some major frame rate issues, especially noticeable towards the beginning, but I started to adjust to it. It takes a minute to really settle in with how this movie is gonna look, but the characters just should have been so much more expressive. Chris Pine's villain character does get a decent amount of stuff to do, and he gets to make a few more faces than the other guys. At the end of the day, I just wanted them to be so much more expressive. I can at least commend Disney for trying something new, and I definitely commend the underpaid artists who tried to make this look as good as possible. I think the execution is a bit weak, but ultimately they had the best intentions in mind, and what they have isn't terrible. It gets better towards the ending. They let the colors come out just a little bit more. The character designs and the outfit designs were gorgeous though. I mean, outfit design is a huge part of this channel, so of course I'm gonna pay attention to it, and it was pretty great. Now, let's move on to something that people actually care about, the humor. Is this a funny movie at least? Can I at least shut my brain off and have a good time? The humor does not work, at all. There's a few jokes that almost made it past the starting line. I think they said the word kill at one point, and that, whoa, too far. But they tripped over their own egos, and now they're just face down in the dirt. They couldn't commit to a solid style of humor, and now it's just so bland it's forgettable. The GOAT, the comedic sidekick, he didn't do anything. He was so unfunny. Every joke he made was just, this movie's made for kids. And Disney movies used to be made for both kids and adults, and this was not that, unfortunately. Speaking of egos, dude, Bob Iger's got a fucking ego.
I believe I have just been threatened.
Or Chapek. It depends on when this movie went into production. Damn, this movie is self-indulgent as hell. Hidden Mickeys everywhere, and they did a whole thing with the castle and Magnifico's on the castle, the castle. I've been to Disney World, and they light up parts of the castle with different characters' faces. They just straight up did that at the end of the movie. hey, you want to come to Disney World? Buy our stuff. The fireworks, the references to past Disney movies and characters, they were fun when you catch them. The little references here and there to Zootopia or to Sleeping Beauty or whatever. But it just didn't feel like Wish was adding anything new to say. This was Disney the movie. Look at what we've done in the last 100 years, all mixed together in one pot, and we did what white people do best. We add a little bit of salt, and that's all we know how to do. We weren't able to make this any more interesting, and it shows. I think it's a bad sign when you're about a quarter of the way in, and you haven't settled into your seat at all. Like, you go to a movie theater, you're getting lost in the movie, and you forget you're watching a movie, right? Everybody does that. And you're forgetting you're in a movie theater. For the entire movie, that never happened. I couldn't actually focus on what was going on. And that's a really bad sign that you're losing people. Not because you need to go a million miles an hour, so fast that I don't even know any of these side characters. Like, who's this asshole? I don't remember, and neither do you. Because they don't take the time to establish anything dramatic. They just want, ooh, look at that little Mickey Mouse right there. That's what this movie was. And kinda bland. I saw some decent reviews, couple in our Discord server. I'm gonna give you a shout out. Don't remember your username, but here it is. You know, they seem to like it just fine. They did add some stuff later saying, you know, there were some more detriments. And people just seem to be generally either in the middle or at the bottom with this movie, and you get like a 75 on the academic grading scale. The real third act of this movie was the only part that felt very well executed to me. There's some cool imagery and creative stuff they do with the setting, and the coloration seems to be improved a lot more, and the scale of this kingdom feels alive a little bit. It feels more fun. It feels like the movie was finally able to just do something kind of cool. It feels like something is actually at stake here. And, alright, I guess I have to talk about the soundtrack. It's just bad. It's not like offensive, but it's just nothing interesting. It's a lot of pop music type songs, and I'm kind of over that stuff, you know? They didn't hire the right people for the job, and while the music is pretty good for what it is, it doesn't fit with the movie, and that's where the problems come in. The villain song was probably the best one of the bunch, and there is a moment in another song where a character walks in halfway through, and everybody stops singing, and then they just join right in, and it is that I like that. That was creative. To those of you who didn't see the movie, you don't know what I'm talking about, but to those of you who did, I think you know what I mean. And that's why everyone is hating this movie. Because the pieces were in place for us, but it just didn't come together in the end. Everything was here. A new and interesting visual style, a unique sound, even though it's not one that really fits with the movie, and an actually pretty interesting mechanic of making a wish and then immediately forgetting what that wish was, so you're not burdened with it. That's a decent lesson to tell, and it's a cool dynamic you could have done a lot with. But they didn't do anything with it. The villain just turns into a mustache-twirling douchehole, and it's like, what are we doing? This is boring now. So to wrap this all up, this movie really had potential, and they just kept tripping over their own balls, and I don't understand what the point of anything was. In the end, I wasn't like mad or anything, but I was just kind of hoping this movie would be something of a bit more substance, you know? Nothing in it was offensive, but at least if it was offensive, I'd have something to talk about here. So those were my thoughts. Let me know what you think in the comments. I mean, it's probably better than Trolls 3, so if you have to bring your kids to a movie, that's probably the best one to bring them to.
You kill my grandma!
But who are we kidding? They want to see the FNAF movie anyway, don't they? Honestly, just take them to see that. They'll be fine. So let me know your thoughts in the comments, and I'll see you later.